Don't you just love looking up at space and the stars and seeing what you can see? Sometimes I really do wonder, what is up there? Oh, I forgot. I'm also high right now. Super Mario Galaxy was a game released back in 2007 and it's pretty good. I actually really like it. Out of all the 3D Mario games, it is by far gotta be my favorite one. Number one because of nostalgia purposes, and number two because it's actually just a good 3D Mario game. Mario Galaxy isn't like some other 3D Mario games like 64 or Sunshine or Odyssey. It was one of the first 3D Mario games to follow a more linear format. What I mean to say by that is that the levels, while in 3D, kind of acted more like traditional 2D Mario levels than the traditional 3D ones. In something like Mario 64, you'd go around and you'd explore the whole level, sometimes find secrets there and everything. Same with something like Odyssey or Mario Sunshine. However, for a game like Mario Galaxy, it's a lot more linear in its level design. It's usually an exact path you have to follow to get to the star. This was the first Mario game to be like that, and it was definitely a fun little welcome change to the franchise. The franchise has been getting a little bit stale by that point, so having something like this was actually a nice breath of fresh air. Nintendo would continue this trend from Mario Galaxy 2 to 3D Land to 3D World, and would finally end it with Odyssey, which would be the first actual truly open world Mario game since 64. But Mario Galaxy is still a really good game. And I want to clarify here, I'm talking about Galaxy 1 specifically, not Galaxy 2. Guess it really is just like Mario Galaxy 1, but like with a 2. So Galaxy 1, its storyline is pretty much the same as any other Mario game. Princess Peach gets captured by Bowser, but this time instead of Bowser just trying to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, he's trying to become the God Emperor of the universe. So a bit of an upscale from last time. Hey, so Mario, Peach, it's me, Bowser. I'm back again, and I've taken the princess. Oh, Bowser, what do you want to do this time? Oh, are you going to take over the Mushroom Kingdom? No, not quite. I was actually more thinking, the whole entire universe. What? What do you mean the whole entire, like, as in everything? Yeah, everything that exists, everything to ever exist, and everything that ever has existed. All of that. What the fuck? So the storyline is a bit of a grander scope, and there's a little bit more at stake this time. In terms of the gameplay of the game itself, it's very different to its predecessors. It has a new move, that being the spin jump. The spin jump is a move that allows you to stun enemies if you spin while on an enemy, and you can also just use it to get general height. It can be used for better maneuvering. It's just a really useful feature to have in general. The rest of Mario's moveset is pretty much the same, though a little bit more limited compared to previous Mario games. Moves like the long jump are back, even though they were removed originally in Sunshine. They've come back from 64 into this game. However, a lot of the more complicated moves that Mario could do, they've just not made their way back, like the dive, for example, which was very useful in 64 and something like Odyssey where it was brought back, and it just doesn't exist here. This is mainly because the controller format for Mario Galaxy is a Wiimote and a nunchuck, and if you've ever played with a Wiimote and nunchuck, it's a little bit limited in its capabilities. It's alright for playing with, but there's definitely better options out there, and I kind of do wish there was support for something like a GameCube controller to play the game with, but I don't mind that much. The gameplay for the game itself, in terms of its controls, are actually relatively fluid. I like them. The controls are nice. They're good. They feel really nice. Out of all Mario games, probably my second favorite Mario game in order to just move around in. I think my favorite is probably just Odyssey, but that's just because Odyssey's moveset is just so large. Galaxy's is very, very well fine-tuned to its gameplay, and it works really well. One of the main gameplay features about Mario Galaxy is the gravity. The gravity in the game is something that's kind of focused on a lot, and it was one of the major aspects. The game was originally supposed to be made for the GameCube when Nintendo Nintendo wanted to make fully spherical worlds for the Mario game on there. They couldn't manage to do it with just the GameCube's hardware, however, so they ended up making Sunshine for the GameCube, but they did save the idea on the shelf where they brought it back out for Mario Galaxy. This feature was brought back in the form of planets and galaxies where Mario could run around and jump and everything in all different directions, going all around the planets and everything, which was a nice little thing to have. It was, compared to other Mario games, very unique. Mario Galaxy as a game is unique because of its gravity and galaxy features. The fact that it's all set in space allows for some really interesting and cool level design. For example, the fact that you go to these different galaxies and they're completely styled differently, and have the Honey World, for example, is something that's never been brought back in any other Mario game. It's completely original to Galaxy. Why is this bee talking to me? This allows for some very interesting gameplay because you'll have different obstacles in every single galaxy. Like any other Mario game, I guess, you know, you got your different worlds, but Galaxy feels different. The worlds can just be so much more unique in Galaxy because they're not constrained to being somewhat realistic on just a single world. They are all completely different because they are in completely different galaxies and part of the universe, so it makes sense that they would be very different to each other. And of course, you cannot talk about Mario Galaxy without talking about its soundtrack. Out of every Mario game, the only one that rivals Galaxy in terms of its soundtrack and its music is probably Odyssey, but even then, Galaxy, oh, it's just real hard to beat. Galaxy's music is just so amazing. The orchestral music that they gave the game, while definitely odd to have for something like a Mario game at first thought, just works so well. With the giant expansive universe, the giant orchestral pieces just work really well for the game, and I'm really glad that that's the direction they went in with the music for it. It's why Mario Galaxy's music is just so memorable compared to some other Mario games. While Mario music in general tends to be pretty memorable, Galaxy's is just on a whole nother level of it. Galaxy's music just sticks in your brain and you want to hear it again. It's why I've played through the game multiple times. It's part of the reason I have, just to hear the music, to be honest. The music is just that good. Replaying the game is worth it just to hear it. This game also has its own unique power-ups. Compared to other 3D Mario games, Galaxy reintroduced the idea of power-ups, but the power-ups work slightly differently. Most of the power-ups are on a time limit compared to the normal Mario power-ups where they just last until you get hit. The only exceptions to this are really the Boo Mushroom and the Bee Mushroom, and I think the spring one as well, where these will not go away until you either get hit or go into some sort of launch star or something. These power-ups can range from anything from the Bee Mushroom, which lets you fly, to the Boo Mushroom, which also lets you fly but lets you also go through some walls. There's also the Ice Flower and the Fire Flower, which work essentially as the Ice Flower and Fire Flower worked in other Mario games. The Ice Flower is slightly different with the fact that it turns Mario into ice instead of giving him his normal ice costume. In addition, it allows him to skate on water, turning the water beneath him into, well, ice. There's also the Spring Mushroom, which allows Mario to jump up really high. For some reason, it's really kind of useless. I kind of don't like it. And that's pretty much all the power-ups in Galaxy. They're fairly unique and fairly good. However, one part of Galaxy that is very unique and different to other Mario games is its story. I already covered the main story, but Galaxy actually has a side story. Yeah, this game is a mainline 3D Mario game and it has side story content. Can you believe that? There's a little thing in the game called Rosalina's Library on the Common Observatory, which is essentially your home base for the game. It's the main hub where you go to all your different galaxies. If you go into the library and you've collected a certain amount of stars over time, Rosalina will share more and more of this little storybook here. It's actually got a pretty nice, sad, kind of heartfelt story in there where Rosalina explains how her father passed away and was buried under a tree, and well, she got taken in by the Loomis as one of her own. It was actually really kind of upsetting, especially with the music. It's actually really nice. It's kind of somber. I like the fact that it's there. It's not even needed, and you could probably skip over the entire thing and you wouldn't even know that it was there, but the fact that Nintendo decided to put it in there, despite the fact they really didn't even have to, I just like that. It was a nice little added feature that there was no reason to add, but they did it anyways, and that's just really nice. Also, Luigi. Luigi was added in the game as well. He is side content. Once you've beaten the game, you can, as you know, you might have already seen this screen because it's been memed to death, you can now play as Luigi. Pops up on your screen, and well, it does as it says. You can now play as Luigi. Luigi gameplay is literally identical in terms of the stars and everything. There's no different stars. In fact, the Luigi stars, where you have to rescue Luigi, stay the exact same, and, well, there's just 2 Luigis in the universe for some reason. The only difference really is that Luigi's controls are slightly different. He's a bit more slippery compared to Mario, and he can jump higher like in classic Luigi games where he's been playable. And that's pretty cool and all, but it's pretty much just the same game again. Now, Mario Galaxy was originally a game on the Nintendo Wii. However, back in 2021, it got ported. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy all got ported to the Switch, where, well, they'd all be playable in one pack for only $60. This pack was alright. You could buy it and you could play all 3 games, and they all played pretty much the same, though there were still some complaints about them. All the bugs in the original games weren't fixed, they weren't that polished or anything, but I would say one of the better ones out of the 3 was probably Galaxy. It played pretty much the same, and they managed to actually get the pointer controls where you would originally use the Wii remote and the sensor bar to point at the screen to collect star bits, which are essentially the currency of that game. And they actually managed to map that to the gyro controls in one of the Joy-Cons, which works surprisingly well. I've tried it. It's actually a decently good system. I actually kind of like it. Galaxy 1 on the Switch is pretty much the same as it was before. There's no gameplay changes or story changes to it. It acts identically to how it worked on the Wii. It's just Galaxy 1. But I thought I should mention it because it is the one other place you can play Galaxy 1 unless you put a Wii disc into a Wii U. But yeah, that's pretty much Galaxy. So, Super Mario Galaxy. What do we think of it? I think it's really good, and personally, the best Mario game. I just think Mario Galaxy, with its music and the fact that it's got such a really good story, despite the fact that the story's really simple, it's just told really well. I just think it's really good. The gameplay of the game is amazing, especially considering the planets and the fact that you can go all around them and everything, and the fact that you've got all the gravity warping and everything. It's just so fun to play around, and the uniqueness of every different galaxy is just such a fun thing to explore and run around in. The controls are just so buttery smooth to play with. I just really actually love this game. And a lot of it is nostalgia, I'll say it now, but I mean, can you really blame me? The game's really good. It objectively is a good game, so, I mean, considering that, can't really complain. So, final verdict? Why is Rosalina taller than the other princesses? Like, there's Rosalina is canonically taller and larger than Peach and Daisy for, like, no reason. I don't know why, it's just random.